raised in Miami. I've lived my whole life in South Florida. I started diving in 1978. My parents have always been water people. They've always had a place in Key Largo my whole life. I think it would be unusual not to be a scuba diver living in that part of the world for your whole life. I was working in Miami at the time. I'd gotten out of college and was working in the corporate world. Wasn't crazy about that. We always used Sea Dwellers Dive Center when I was growing up. When we got our tanks filled here, we got our equipment repaired here, got certified here. Sea Dwellers was, I think, the third dive shop to open in Key Largo, actually. So it was kind of a neat thing when we decided that, hey, it's for sale. We knew the old owners very well. Hey, maybe we can pull this thing off. Next thing you know, I'm a dive shop guy. Sea Dwellers has been in business since 1974, but we've had it since 1994, Jeff and I have. I think the culture of Sea Dwellers is we're non-corporate. We've got a lot of long-term employees that have been with us a lot longer than some of the other shops around here. As everything gets more and more corporate these days, I think that's a shame, because I think when our customer comes back to Sea Dwellers, they recognize us, they know us by name. Hey Rob, hey Jeremy, hi Scott, how you doing? It's good to see you again. And I'm like, and I know them by first name too. So I never want to lose that personal touch that Sea Dwellers has been able to maintain. As long as we've been around, I think the best thing for me is still to see people for the first time get in the water, try scuba diving for the first time on a nice day with clear blue water, and have them come up and just go, wow, you know, that is unbelievable. The diving back in 1978 was a little different in the Keys, like it is in a lot of parts of the world. The coral reefs are in decline, mostly to environmental conditions today. The nice thing for the Keys, and in particular Key Largo, is the marine life has never been stronger. It's actually gotten even better in the last 10 or 15 years as far as the abundance and diversity that we're seeing on the reefs, due in large part to the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, a lot of the rules and regulations, and we have a lot of enforcement capabilities in the Florida Keys that a lot of places in the Caribbean don't have. They don't have the resources for that. We do. And you can see it on our coral reefs every time you go out there. The big groupers, big snappers, the snook, the eating fish that you just don't see hardly at all in the Caribbean a lot these days anymore. Here you do. I like to think that Sea Dwellers plays a pretty vital role in helping to educate people. We have something that's extremely fragile, something that's certainly feeling the effects of the global environmental conditions that we're seeing today. And I think that what we have is precious. It's important that we convey this to our people and our customers. The nice thing is I've got the easiest job in the world. People that come down here to go scuba diving, they want to be here. They love the reef. They share our enthusiasm for the reef and the marine life that we have here. It's a natural segue into talking about how fragile it is and how important it is that we all are aware that it's not easy to protect it. And most people appreciate that fact and want to learn. They want to hear what we have to say. It starts right here in the shop, talking about the fish life that we have here. It continues with our instructors, and then it continues with our captain on the boat. There's very few places you can go in the Caribbean and see a 35-pound black grouper, and then behind him is going to be a 15-pound mutton snapper. There's just very few places left like that. Key Largo in particular is one of them. John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park was instituted decades ago. The marine conservation started in the 50s. And it's continued to today now with the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary that extends all throughout the entire Florida Keys. The conservation measures have been instituted here, and we've got the enforcement capabilities. So the Florida Keys is a very unique area. And people keep coming back here because it's the best marine life in the Caribbean, hands down. When you think about the long-term prognosis for scuba diving in the world and the coral reefs, I can only hope that we can continue to do the things that we're doing right these days. Coral Restoration Foundation, I think, is one of the most revolutionary organizations for the health of the coral reef in the world that we've probably ever seen, and it couldn't come at a better time. I really hope that the long-term prognosis for the Florida Keys is like the rest of the world. We're going to be able to protect the marine life and the coral life down here. In 15 years from now, I can only hope and pray that that's going to be the case.